Hello everyone, this is Thor with Bear Bull Traders, and I would like to do a recap for you on my trades today. I traded two tickers today, AMRN and 5. I want to go through 5 mostly because I want to talk a little bit about how you can find good trades in the afternoon or around the 11 o'clock hour for the traders who don't want to rush into some of the volatility of the opening trades. But before I do that, let me go ahead and get through AMRN here. AMRN was opening kind of in the descending against the pre-market, so I was looking for it to have a bit of a sell-off, but then after that I was really looking for a bounce, probably somewhere around, I was thinking around 1980 to 1960 range, just because we had some large bidders sitting there on the level 2, but not a whole lot below that. So thinking maybe a good opportunity for a squeeze there, maybe. So AMRN did open up down. It actually, I had this, we have the high of yesterday right there. Okay, so I was knows we were going to break below that, so I went ahead, and you can see that right here. You see yesterday's high coming right through there. All right, so as it pressed against and it broke yesterday's high and pulled back, I went ahead and went short, and then I just held on for a second, and then it broke down. I got some really nice partials, and then it pulled back, was holding under yesterday's high, so I went ahead and added into the position, but then it broke, and I took some off and then stopped out of the rest. Took a little bit of slip on that. It went a little bit faster than expected, but it came right back in the range, so I went ahead and added in short again, fresh position, and then got a partial as it hit that low. I liked how it was holding, so I added in a little bit more. And then before it broke, I actually added in a little bit more. It pulled back. When I added in more, full disclosure, I added in a little bit too much, and I wasn't comfortable with the amount of risk that was there, so I took a little bit off. That was a mistake. I meant to only take in a couple hundred extra shares. I ended up taking in almost another full-size position, so I just had to dump. I actually ended up losing like $10 just on the dump because it was a little bit higher, but whatever. And then it broke down nice, and I got partials all the way down to 1960. So this is where AMRN really started to look interesting. AMRN bounced off of this 1960, came straight up to here, and then if you looked at the level 2, it looked a lot like it looks right now. There are these larger orders all stacked up to the top side, and then I saw bids starting to come in really close to the price, and I was like, oh man, I really think this is going to squeeze. So I went ahead and I took off my entire position at 1975, and then I actually went long at 1975 on the next candle when it didn't make a new low and it made a new high above that previous candle. So when I saw this sell-off bounce off of 1960 and then this big bullish candle came back here and it held back and then pushed back up, that was really my signal. So I got out, waited, and then I got long, and then sure enough, the darn thing squeezed for me and went all the way up to 2063, got great partials all the way up. Pulled back, I did an add-in with the loss of the previous day's high, and got a nice partial and a partial there before eventually stopping all the way out. And then I spent a few minutes here trying to anticipate a break back down and a break back up, but the level 2 got really distorted and it started to chop, so I decided I would stop giving the market back. I made some of these are wins and stop outs, but I decided not to give the market any of its money back at that point. So after that, I decided that I would, let me pull this back here so that fits right. So after that, I was pretty much done for the day unless I got a really good setup, and then 5 worked out for me great. So I want to talk about finding trades in the afternoon, and I'm going to use 5 for an opportunity to that. I did a class on ascending triangles and breakouts at Bear Bull Traders, and you can find that if you're a member. And that class talks about using obvious price levels, support and resistance levels, in order to judge and time breakouts. And 5 did it pretty much the best example I've ever had. So I wish I'd recorded this live, but I didn't. But it was, when you were looking here, it came up and it sold up very nicely and strong, and it bounced off of this 103.50, we'll call it, area. And then it pulled back to the average and then came back up and hit that 103.50 area again to the penny, just with multiple attempts to break through. And if you looked at the level 2, up here above it at 104 was a lot of sells, a big sells from 104, 104.1, and in large quantity, 200, 300 blocks. And you're talking on $103, dollar stock. That's a pretty decent block. So it started to push up here and then it failed off and then it came under here and the moving averages started to intertwine with each other and it pushed back up and then once it broke 103.20 I was long. So and why I did that was because of this here. For me to go long on one of my ascending patterns, I like to see 3 touches to the penny and then I take a long on it for the break up. So you can see here it pushed up, it hit, it pushed up, it hit again, but then underneath it, when it curled on these averages, you saw another small ascending pattern happen here. I had one touch here, and then I to the penny, 1, 2, 3, and then with the level 2 showing a lot of sellers up here, the bid started to rush in on the time and sells. I could tell we were going in the right direction. So I went ahead and got long at 5. My long in was at just 103.20, or well, actually it was 103.18, and I was going to stop out if we lost 103. So it was a pretty narrow stop, but I was going for a break. So if it goes the other direction, there's no need to be in it. I'll stop out and wait for it to come back up and get ready to break again if I need to, but that was not necessary. It went straight through and broke. I took a partial at this next level here, which was just a quick partial, and I just locked in about 10% just to make sure if it comes the other way and I stop out. I at least made, I at least covered the cost of business, and then it popped up really nice. So I had about 600 shares in on this one, and this thing ran up very, very quickly. And as you can see here, I ended up going from 103.18 all the way to 106.66 on this one. I took the lion's share off at 105.50 actually on this pullback. I got tricked out a little bit. It was popping really well, and I decided to go down and take a big partial at 105 because when it made this low, I thought it looked like it was rolling over to break down, and it was just time to go ahead and get profit. So I took it there, but then of course it popped up. I got a couple more partials that took me down to 10%. And then I set the rest for the loss of 104.50, and sure enough, it came back and it stopped me out. I'm done for the day. This trade put me 3 times my daily goal. It was a really nice grab, really happy on it, and it worked out well. But the main thing I wanted to talk about and why I wanted to point this out is there are great trades, continuation plays, ABCD patterns, price level breakout patterns, lots of stuff that works in the afternoon, and some of these trades are a lot easier to judge without the volatility of the open of the market, all those extra shares, and you can still get big moves if you're patient and you wait. From the time I was done with AMRN, which I definitely overtraded a little bit at the end trying to anticipate a pop, but by the time I was done with that, I didn't do a single other trade till I got to this one because I just knew I wanted one more good trade and I just wanted to get up to a good level. So I hope everyone's having a great day. I hope your week is starting off well, and keep it green. Thanks.